and welcome to the news. The Wednesday Bulletin, as usual, gives the extra details on issues of local and global importance. We'll be in different parts of the country to track developing stories, cover new events and distill citizens' views while seeking expert opinions on events that shape our daily lives. Tonight, mission to Kebbi. Vice President Kashim Shettima says government will leave no stone unturned to rescue the abducted students of Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga Danko Wasagu, Kebbi State.
Our priority is singular and unflinching. Our daughters must return home safely.
Fight against insecurity. President Tinubu gives marching order to security agencies as police deploys more men to Eruku Ekiti local government of Kwara State. Also tonight, National Assembly engages stakeholders on security and peace building. On gender equality, African women converge on Accra, Ghana, urge African leaders to prioritize policies and align with Agenda 2063. Also tonight, Benny Adams will be giving us analysis of the finance and economic sector with tips on the business to back and those to back out of. In sports, Badia Deleye is here. I don't know if I can forgive him and his Super Eagles for Sunday's heartbreak. Anyways, I'll try. As we say on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ian Ray John. This is News Extra. Welcome. The federal government has assured Nigerians of its steadfast commitment in securing the safe return of the abducted students of Government Day Comprehensive Secondary School in Kebbi State. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who led a high-level delegation to express solidarity with the Kebbi State government and people, described the incident as both heartbreaking and unacceptable. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa has all the details.
As the nation continues to grapple with the abduction of MAGA schoolgirls, expectations are mounting both nationally and internationally for their safe rescue. Vice President Kashim Shettima, while delivering President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's message, reaffirmed that no effort will be spared in tracking down the perpetrators and ensuring the students are safely returned. He commended the Kebbi State government for support and disclosed that all relevant security agencies had been mobilized working around the clock under a coordinated national response strategy.
And he has sent me to assure you that this is not a moment for politics. This great transcends party lines, geography, and identity. This is a time for unity, for compassion, and for firm resolve in the face of evil. Our priority is singular and unflinching. Our daughters must return home safely.
Governor Nasir Idris said the state government is fully collaborating with security operatives and providing all necessary support to facilitate the search and rescue operation.
I thank Mr. President, to the Vice President, coming to also to assure the parents that the government is doing everything possible to ensure the release of their daughters.
The delegation includes ministers, members of the House of Representatives, the APC national chairman, and other top government officials. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
And an update to that story, the federal government has released the names of the abducted students on 16 November 2025 from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga Danko Wasagu. They are Salima Garba, Umar Senchi, Salima Sani Zrimi, Amina G. Umar, Rashida Muhammad, Dungu, Salihu Umar, Aisha Usman, Jamila Ilyasu, Mariam Ilyasu, Najatu Abdullahi, and Zainab Kolo, all in SS3A and B. SS2A, Fatima Sani Zimri, Hafsat Ibrahim, Nana Fidelsi Jibrin, Masaudu Yakubu, Tomo. SS2B, Hawa Saleh. In GSS3, the students include Suraya Tukur, Hafsat Umar, Mary Usman, Amina Ilyasu, Iklima Suleiman. In JS3, the kidnapped students include Khadija Nazifi, Hawa Ilyasu, Hawa Lawali, Umal Kurmsmi, Abdul Karim. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has postponed his scheduled trip to Johannesburg, South Africa, and Luanda, Angola, as he awaits further security briefings on the kidnapped Kebbi schoolgirls and the attack on Christ Apostolic Church worshippers in Eruku, Kwara State. In response to the request by the governor of Kwara State, President Tinubu has ordered the deployment of more security men to Eruku and the entire Ekiti local government area of the state, and directed the police to go after the bandits who attacked worshippers. President Tinubu was scheduled to leave Abuja this Wednesday to attend the 20th G20 Summit of Leaders in South Africa, and thereafter proceed to Luanda to attend the 7th AU-EU Summit. Disturbed by the security breaches in Kebbi State and Monday's attack by bandits and worshippers at Christ Apostolic Church, Eruku, President Tinubu decided to suspend his departure. In a statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, President Tinubu reiterates his directive to the security agencies to do everything possible to rescue the 24 schoolgirls abducted by the bandits and safely bring the girls back home. No state religion has been adopted as the national religion, and Nigerians have the right to carry out their religious obligations. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, made this comment during a briefing with editors of media outfits in his office. Shehu Muhammad Dati was there.
Motivation remained primarily becoming the community rather than religious. Across Nigeria, Christians and Muslims have been equally victimized. No credible national organization has ever classified this crisis as a genocide against Christians or any group.
The briefing addressed the challenges of insecurity and its multifaceted manifestation in Nigeria. The SGF enumerated the root causes, which include economic incentives and illegal mining, cattle rustling, and quest for territorial control, which made the battle against outlaws a persistent face-off in Nigeria.
The current misrepresentation of the crisis as genocide against Christians, U.S. dangerous religious tensions and burdens, extremists and criminal factions seeking to exploit sectarian narratives, yet diplomatic friction based on inaccurate interpretations and undermine Nigeria's long-standing effort to build constructive international security partnerships.
Responding to the religious coloration being given to the attacks, the SGF emphasized that terrorists carry out their heinous acts irrespective of religion. He called for collaboration to counter all forms of security threats in the country. In Abuja, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Similarly, the federal government is reassuring Nigerians and the international community that the nation's security architecture has been given a marching order to rescue alive all kidnapped victims, particularly the recent victims in Kebbi and Kwara states. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at a press briefing, warned against the categorization of criminality along religious or tribal lines, describing such as counterproductive. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara has all the details.
The emerging security in Nigeria that is receiving dynamic approach is equally generating a growing concern from both the local and international community. The government chief spokesman reminded Nigerians to support ongoing efforts by being patriotic in unity in fighting the common enemy.
The federal government of Nigeria notes with growing concern the divisive and narrow rhetoric seeking to frame the nation's security challenges along sectarian terms. The government of Nigeria categorically refutes any characterization of this situation along religious lines. Such claims are not only factually inaccurate, but are also dangerously counterproductive to the national unity required to overcome our shared challenges. Nigeria's security landscape is a complex one, and it deals with a combination of many factors, among them terrorism, banditry, and criminality. All of them are coming together to make Nigeria look as if it is not a safe place to live in. These forces of evil do not discriminate by faith. They target the very fabric of our nation.
He reassured that federal government is deploying all resources to win the battle.
The international community, including respected global religious leaders, acknowledge the complex socio-economic political roots of the conflict rather than a simplistic sectarian narrative. The position of the federal government of Nigeria remains unequivocal. Nigeria is a multi-faith country where the freedom of worship is constitutionally guaranteed and must be upheld by everyone. At this critical time, it is imperative for all Nigerians to stand as one. We must reject misinformation and division.
The prompt response and deployment order of the president, he said, has shown practical commitment to the battle against criminality in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And still on security concerns, the Kwara State Police Command has confirmed a bandit attack in Iriku town in Ekiti, local government area of Kwara State, which took place around 6 p.m. on Tuesday. According to the Kwara State Police Command, officers from the Iriku Divisional Police Office, supported by local vigilantes, responded swiftly after hearing gunshots from the outskirts of the town. Their prompt intervention forced the suspected bandits to flee into the surrounding bush. The police public relations officer, SP Adeton Ejire Adeyemi, in a statement said, in subsequent search of the area, 2 victims were found fatally shot, while one of them, identified as Mr. Aderemi, was discovered inside the Christ Apostolic Church, Oke-Shegun, and another victim, Mr. Tunde Asaba Ajayi, found dead in the bush nearby. A vigilante member, Shegun Alaja, sustained gunshot injuries during the operation. He was rushed to Ekwa Hospital, Iriku, for urgent medical treatment. The Commissioner of Police, CP Adekimi Ojo, assured residents that security agencies are fully committed to ensuring the perpetrators are brought to justice, stating that efforts will continue until the hoodlums are totally decimated. Now let's head to the National Assembly. A policy dialogue aimed at recognizing the strategic role of traditional and religious institutions in national security gets underway in Abuja to strengthen national peace and unity. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the event put together by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies is also engaging other opinion leaders in Nigeria's conflict zones.
Religious and traditional institutions play a vital role as custodians of values since pre-colonial era. As the country is confronting multifaceted security challenges, from banditry to communal clashes, experts say hands must be on deck to restore peace and social cohesion.
We know the good, we know the bad, we know the ugly. And if you give us our job back, I'm sure these problems we're having in the country will come to an end.
This dialogue, therefore, provides us a rare opportunity to reflect deeply, once again, on how to harness the influence of these institutions in shaping community resilience.
We have to work together for our country, Nigeria, because we have only one Nigeria. So that's why peace is very important.
Stakeholders are of the belief that practical recommendations with support to religious and traditional leaders, Nigeria's security architecture will be better. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Aliyu Omar Toure, has warned that terrorism has spread beyond the Sahel and Lake Chad Basin to threaten all of West Africa, with early warning data showing 450 attacks and more than 1,900 deaths in 2025. Dr. Toure spoke in New York, United States, during discussions at the United Nations Security Council on strengthening regional cooperation in the fight against terrorism in West Africa and the Sahel. He noted that extremist groups are also waging economic war by restricting fuel and crippling trade across the SAP region, stressing that in response, ECOWAS is accelerating deployment of its standby force, starting with 1,650 personnel and scaling up to 5,000 with regional and partner support. He cautioned that fragmented efforts and mistrust hinder cooperation and urged the Council to help rebuild confidence, secure predictable financing, and strengthen coordinated regional action. We head to the High Court, the Federal High Court to be precise, Abuja Division, which has convicted and sentenced one of the leaders of the Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, Hussaini Ismaila, to 20 years imprisonment. Justice Emeka Nwete gave the order in a summary judgment after Ismaila, also known as May Tangara, pleaded guilty to a 4-count terrorism charge brought against him by the Department of State Services for alleged terrorism. During the arraignment, the prosecution told the court that Ismaila was the coordinator of the 2012 attacks on police headquarters in Kano State, Mobile Police Base, Kabuga Road, Kano State, Farm Center Police Station, Kano State, and Gwauku Police Station, Kano State, among other places in which many were injured. The trials suffered delays resulting from appeals and the conduct of a trial within trial to ascertain the voluntariness of the defendant's extrajudicial statements. When trial eventually opened, the prosecution called 5 witnesses, including 2 DSS officials and 2 eyewitnesses to some of the attacks. Ismaila, who had earlier pleaded not guilty during his arraignment, changed his plea to guilty after the testimony of the 5th prosecution witness. Now time to pause for a short break. More news in a bit. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. The National Assembly is considering creating another body to be saddled with the mandate of conducting local government councils elections in the country. The Joint Committee on Electoral Matters at the Round Table says it is crossing the T's and dotting the I's in the Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025, which seeks to transform the electoral process for efficiency. Let's hear Lamiali, our National Assembly correspondent.
For over a year now, the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Electoral Matters, in an effort to bridge identified gaps in Nigeria's electoral system, embarked on a series of stakeholder engagements to restore trust and build confidence.
Reviewing and amending the Electoral Act to go in conformity with the Constitution.
This technical meeting, which continued behind closed doors, is to conduct a final check on the proposed areas of amendments before presentation of the bill in both chambers for passage and subsequent transmission to the President for assent. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amupiton, was also in attendance.
Electoral amendments that sometimes will come up so as to be able to look at the mistakes of the past and be able to put things in a proper perspective so that we'll have a better election.
It is an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to the rule of law, to fairness, and to a level playing field for all political actors. Let us be guided by the fundamental goal of ensuring that our electoral system is free from manipulation, fraud, and undue influence.
There was also the issue of replacement of voters' card and whether a downloadable voters' card was possible.
Nigerians are expecting because they believe good governance starts with good elections, and good elections start with good electoral act. And that's why we all have to put hands on deck.
The Joint Committee hopes the proposed amendments, such as concluding all litigation before swearing in and other changes to the election timeline, would enhance the process. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Green Chamber has resolved to interface with the leadership of the Senate to accelerate concurrence on the Nigerian Police Force Pension Board Establishment Bill, already passed by the House. This followed a motion of urgent public importance on the floor, calling attention to persistent protest by police retirees at the entrance of Parliament. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpe reports.
For 2 months running, police retirees have protested at the entrance to the National Assembly, drawing attention to delayed pension arrears and gratuities, as well as a desire to leave the contributory pension scheme for a standalone police pension board.
The House of Representatives has passed our bill since October 15 and forwarded same to Senate.
We don't actually want a situation where they will continue to take us for granted.
Their plight was presented on the floor of the House.
The House is concerned that the morale of serving police personnel have been adversely affected by the plight of retired colleagues, a situation that brings embarrassment to the nation and call for urgent parliamentary intervention.
We have done all the needful on that bill. We have amended it.
They are there because of the Senate, because the House of Reps has done the needful.
Since we have treated the issue here comprehensively and it has been transmitted to the Senate, on the issue we are done with it.
The House leadership promised to interface with the Senate to fast-track the Nigerian Police Force Pension Board Establishment Bill within 4 weeks. In another resolution, the House directed its committees on narcotics, human rights and public safety to investigate alleged unlawful operations by NDLEA officials in Abuja, Owan West local government area of Edo State.
Mr. Speaker, we are aware that the constitutional mandate of the NDLEA is to combat drug trafficking and abuse and to operate within the confines of the law and not to run riot on the peace-loving people of any given community.
Following the news of the death of Senator Oke Ezia from Enugu State, the House adjourned plenary till Tuesday next week in honor of the departed lawmaker. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, as part of efforts being made by President Bola Tinubu's administration towards improving the livelihood of Nigerians, the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has distributed different food items to vulnerable persons in Imo State, including widows, persons living with disabilities, and orphans. Obiano June also reports that the First Lady was represented at the empowerment program held in Owerri by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shetima.
These food items by Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, under her Renewed Hope initiative, is seen by these beneficiaries as a true display of love and genuine concern for less privileged indigents of Imo State. Wife of the Vice President, Hajia Nana Shetima, who represented the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, at the event, says the food outreach program, which targets widows, orphans, and persons living with disabilities, aims to reduce the difficulties faced by these vulnerable groups.
As Renewed Hope initiative is to complement the Renewed Hope agenda of the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, which aims to support all Nigerians to strive and achieve their goals irrespective of their condition or status.
Receiving the food items on behalf of the beneficiaries, the wife of Imo State Governor Chioma Uzodinma says the timing of the gesture is apt, as it will positively impact the beneficiaries.
To Her Excellency, Senator Oluremi Tinubu CON, your tireless advocacy for women, children, and vulnerable populations has created a model that states across the Federation are proud to implement.
Very happy. I appreciate it. It's going to go a long way.
The food outreach scheme was launched in March 2024, and so far, 21 states have benefited from the program, including Imo State.
Now, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to strengthening peace and unity at the grassroots level through sustained dialogue and collaboration with stakeholders. This was during a community workshop and setting up of community-based peace structures across the 17 local government areas in Plateau State. Mary Raplong-Damtor reports that the theme is building social cohesion and peace in Plateau State.
The Central region of Nigeria has experienced various forms of conflicts, and to address this reoccurring crisis, stakeholders are adopting a community-driven peace-building approach with emphasis on building grassroots structures. Senior Special Assistant to President Tinubu on Community Engagement, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, says the structures will serve as platforms for sustainable dialogue, reconciliation, and inclusive participation.
Of course, we'll be teaching them different things on communications, on intelligence gathering, and most importantly on how to sustain deliberate dialogues amongst themselves. We build deliberate dialogue that you find a lasting solution to peace, and it's also part of the President's agenda in showing his own effort in sustaining a lasting peace in Plateau State.
Our communities must be at the heart of our peace-building efforts and also of security.
Together, we can heal our wounds, rebuild our land, and restore Plateau State to its rightful place as the home of peace and tourism.
Stakeholders in peace building across Plateau State appreciate the present administration's proactive interventions to addressing conflict in the states. In Jos, Mary Raplong-Damtor, NTA News.
And joining us now for a conversation is the SSA to the President of Community Engagement, Abiodun Esiet. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
All right, like we saw in that report, some interventions in Plateau State. Now, Plateau is among states in Nigeria in the news because of insecurity, and that has lingered for many years now. Why do you think that has not been able to, reduce, talking about the insecurity?
Okay, thank you so much. So Plateau State is a very peculiar state when it comes to insecurity challenges because Plateau State has suffered from historical grievance, historical mistrust that has fueled some of the crises, coupled with banditry, terrorists, and also criminal activities between even farmers and others, crisis, and a whole lot of root causes that has fueled the insecurity in Plateau State. So basically, Plateau suffered from, I've summarized the white paper reports from Plateau State from 2004 to date, and most of the root causes of this crisis have not actually been addressed fully by different levels of government involved. So, and that has really aggravated into historical mistrust between the different players, coupled with other ethno-religious crises in those areas, which is now
Great. You seem to understand the issues in Plateau State. Now you have set up a community-based peace structure.
Yes.
Tell us about this peace structure in 17 local government areas and what do you intend to achieve?
Okay, so Plateau State happened to be the third state that we're setting up this peace structure. We've done the one for Kogi State and also the Benue State. So Plateau is the third state based on our finding that, we need to sustain community peace dialogue because everything that happens in insecurity happens in the community. And because of the diversity and peculiarities of some of our community, we decided to create a peace structure to strengthen community intelligence and also to continue deliberate dialogue because we believe when communities of diverse interests and groups continue to engage themselves, then we are in one step ahead, in addressing some of the insecurity in those regions. So for the 17 local governments, we have actually set up the peace structure that constitutes different diverse interests. We have representative of CAN, representative of GNI, representative of PDAN Group. PDAN Group is an indigenous group of Plateau State, representative of NCWS, representative of MACBAN, which are the Meiti Hala Group, representative of the AFAN, and also the youth group. We have carefully selected this group of people to be the baseline for the structures that we have set up across the 17 local governments. And, you know, we've trained them on intelligence gathering, on information, and how to relate well with the security agency when there are issues. And we're doing this in collaboration with the state peace structure, because that's the sustainability part of it, for the state peace structures to work in line with the federal government in ensuring that the community peace structure that we have set up in 17 local governments are activated and be able to do exactly what they're meant to do. They'll also be doing work in terms of engaging in deliberate dialogue, identifying early warning and early response, and they'll also be part of the committee that will be working with different stakeholders when they notice any early warning or any crisis before it's aggravates into a bigger one.
All right, many thanks, Abiodun. That looks like a detailed structure there put in place in Plateau and, you know, the other states you mentioned. But speak to us about what it has been like so far. What has been the feedback from, you know, the participants of the structures? So what is the feedback to government, and who do you relate to, or if you like, escalate the issues raised by the members of the structures?
Okay, thank you so much. I want to thank Mr. President also for creating this committee engagement, because it has drawn the federal government closer to the people at the grassroots level, and the people also feel carried along, feel the presence of federal government in their daily day-to-day activities. So for the community peace structure, they work directly also with our office in partnership with the state peace structure in reporting to us due time and exactly what is going on in their community. So we'll be going to each of those local governments to actually step down what has been trained at the federal level, at the state level. We'll be going down to each of those local governments to also train the local actors for them to understand what has been discussed at the state chapter, where we had all of them to come together. But now we'll be going around to each of those local governments to step down this training for them to understand the importance of this, particularly because of the nature of the crisis in those regions. Most of the crisis in Plateau State has been 70% reprisal attack and 90% on other bandits and, you know, other criminal activities. So we felt it's important for us, before any crisis gets out of hand, for a group of people who are committed in making sure that there is lasting peace in their community, to work together with different stakeholders to making sure that, you know, crises are being identified or symptoms of, you know, disagreements are being identified as early as possible, and also reporting those to my office. So when crisis like that comes, I report them to my office. I escalate it to members of Federal Executive Council, who are the ministers in charge for insecurity. I relate directly with the Minister for Defense, who, you know, takes our report as a priority because it's coming from the community and also from the presidency. So those reports are channeled to the Minister for Defense, who actually send out those reports to security agency for them to work on and, you know, address with immediate effect. All right,
many thanks, Abiodun. For want of time, I'd like you to just quickly tell us what specific interventions that you have actually escalated and what has been the actions taken so far.
Okay, thank you so much. So we've been able to manage some crises, specifically across the North Central region. Let me start by Nasarawa State. There was a community that a local chief was abducted at a particular time. We managed this crisis by reporting the security agency at the federal level, and the village head was rescued, and now a military checkpoint has been installed in that community, which is within the Akwanga local government. That has been evidence of some of our action, and this community is actually a Christian community in Nasarawa State. Now they can live peacefully. Everywhere is calm. There has been reduced kidnapping and also violence in that community. Also in the Plateau State, we've been able to manage crisis between different factions, between the Makba group and the Irigwe community, by making sure that, you know, concerns of both groups are addressed. There was a recent one where we had crops that were burnt. We actually escalated that to the security agency to identify the criminal involved in burning that. We identified that, and, you know, compensations was made because, you know, things we don't want, issues like that to get out of hand. So we'll be able to manage that, because as simple as that looks, if we didn't intervene on that, it could lead to a bigger, event that, that we may not be able to control. So managing crisis, responding early to community concerns has been our major priority, and making sure that, Mr. President understands their concerns and is ready, to work with them. And with my latest visit in Jos, we're able to meet some of the key players, like, Reverend Ezekiel, him to share some of his concerns and agitation to Mr. President, and we're able to document those concerns and reassure him of Mr. President's support and committed in building a lasting peace in the North Central region and in Nigeria as a whole.
Many thanks, Abiodun Asiat, Associate to the President on Community Engagement. Many thanks for your time, and we hope that you sustain the efforts and also move to other states that are troubled at this time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now let's see other news. We head to Accra, Ghana, where African leaders are being urged to prioritize policies and programs that align with the African Union's Agenda 2063, which calls for accelerated efforts towards achieving full gender equality across all sectors and the complete elimination of violence and discrimination against women. At the 2025 Africa Women Conference in Accra, Ghana, gender advocates are reinforcing these demands, emphasizing the need for stronger protections for children, particularly the girl child, and the renewed commitment to safeguarding their rights. Olusheye Adiagbo reports.
According to data from the International Trade Union Confederation, Africa, women make up more than half of Africa's population, only about 24% of the parliamentary seats, and a similar 24% of managerial positions. This persistent and troubling disparity continues to drive global debate. It is once again in focus at the 2025 Africa Women Conference in Accra, Ghana, where activists for women's and girls' rights from across the region are pushing conversations on inclusive governance.
Our gathering here is a testament that achieving gender equality remains a shared goal and a continental priority. This year's theme, Legacy Meets Innovation, reminds us that the work of African women has always been the invincible engine pioneering our nations. And in this era of technology and creativity, we must boldly chart a new direction and amplify our impact.
As we convene in Accra, let us recognize that African women today stand at the intersection of legacy and innovation, shaping economies, leading enterprise, and transforming societies.
The reason why we don't have good water, good schools and hospitals, because women are not in the right place to make the rightful decisions that will benefit the child, the vulnerable.
I've just been informed this morning that the Nigerian legislature is considering a bill before it to protect and reserve some seats for women. This is exactly what the AU Agenda 2063 enshrines.
The girls are not gone. But we are calling upon others not to be scared, not to retreat, and no surrender. Nigerian sovereignty must be secured, and the girl child must be encouraged to be in school.
A key moment during the opening session was a shared commitment by delegates to intensify efforts towards women's empowerment and strengthening protection for the rights of the girl child. From Accra in Ghana, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA.
And away from Ghana, we head to Borno State, back here in Nigeria, where the government has approved 1 billion naira for the immediate commencement of the Federal University of Agriculture and Entrepreneurship in Bama. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum announced the approval when he received a federal government interministerial delegation on an assessment visit to the institution at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
Federal Government Assessment Team, led by Rekia Gambo Iliasu, Director in charge of University Education at the Federal Ministry of Education, comprise officials from the National Universities Commission, the Budget Office, and the Office of the Head of Service. Governor Zulum had previously handed over the existing Umar Ibrahim College of Education, Science and Technology, Bama, to the federal government to facilitate a quick start of academic activities.
I want to announce a donation of 1 billion naira for the Jacob of University. 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 Commissioner for Education has to facilitate the process and see what can be done with this money. And then we shall take advice from the committee also.
Normally when we have new institutions, we go for what we call assessment of the site or takeover of the site. What we do there is to say if the site is suitable for the institution we want to have. We won't want to be given a dense forest that will take us eternity to develop.
I want to thank the governor. He has demonstrated extraordinarily commitment by giving funds and also making it possible for the team to visit Bama.
The federal lawmaker called on stakeholders and people of Bama to rally around the new institution for a smooth takeoff. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Elsewhere, vibrant youths are participating in Children of Africa Leadership and Values Development Initiative Conference 4.0 with a mindset of becoming digitally smarter and socially responsible in nation building. Ayodeji Makinde reports that this project is steered by CAUDEV and a member of the 10th National Assembly.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this.
For 6 years, from Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejibo Federal Constituency, Bamidele Salam's voice echoes within the walls of the Green Chamber at the National Assembly, legislating and bringing his expertise as a teacher, educationist, journalist and lawyer to bear. One of such is this inroad at the National Children Leadership Conference, where children are empowered to discover their voices, sharpen leadership skills, and embrace values that shape a bright Nigeria and Africa.
My role is to amplify the voices of the Nigerian children, speak for them, prefer solutions to the problems that Nigerian children are facing.
When I go back to my state, Borno State, I will ensure that I share this knowledge that I learned here.
These are the kind of things that we should provide to our younger generation so that by the time they assume greater responsibilities, higher roles in leadership, they will not falter, they will not fail.
We got 31 from Borno State. Guess what? They came by road. We couldn't imagine it. What was the testimony? They said what they had last year was mind-blowing, that they couldn't afford not to come this time around.
As the countdown to the Universal Children's Day on November 20 intensifies, participants are focused and remain in high spirits with impactful digital skills sessions, practical experience from entrepreneurs, children parliamentarians. The next 2 days strengthens Nigeria's unity in diversity. In Abuja, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Beautiful to see, building the leaders of tomorrow. Fantastic. Now, the recent transformation in the nation's pension industry not only guarantees prompt payment of pension benefits and gratuity upon retirement, but also ensures that employees and retirees' pension contributions generate more funds. The Director General, National Pension Commission, Omolola Oluwararon, disclosed this at the opening of PENCOM's second round consultative forum for states and FCT in Benin City, Edo State. Jude Abugo tells us more.
Tributary pension scheme, which began in 2004 with federal civil servants, has been adopted by about 17 states and 7 others are in the process. With pension assets at about 26 trillion, the scheme currently has 10.9 million federal, state, private and informal sector workers. These and other achievements of the scheme were highlighted at the consultative forum by the Director General, National Pension Commission, through her representative.
Introduction of a new pension contribution remittance system, PCRS, to eliminate errors and delays in pension remittances. The National Executive Council approval of a 758 billion naira bond to settle legacy pension liabilities.
Edo State Governor, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Musa Ikilo, commended PENCOM for addressing the nation's perennial pension challenges.
Events like these offer an opportunity to deepen interstate cooperation, learn from best practices, and collectively chart a roadmap to ensure that pension reform achieves its intended goal at the national and sub-national levels.
The forum will update representatives of state pension bureaus, heads of service, pension fund administrators, and pension fund custodians with recent developments in the nation's pension industry. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA.
Let's look at other news now, as President Bola Tinubu has approved new appointments in key government agencies. Musa Sarkin Ada has been redeployed to serve as Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, while Mukhtar Shehu Shagari has been appointed as the new chairman of the National Inland Waterways Authority. In a statement, President Tinubu urges the newly appointed officials to be patriotic and leverage their experience to drive transparency, accountability, and effective service delivery. The appointments take immediate effect. Similarly, President Bola Tinubu has approved the redeployment of 16 permanent secretaries. A statement by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DD Esther Wilson-Jack, indicates that those affected are Engineer Funsho Adebi from Works to Transportation, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana from Aviation and Aerospace Development to General Services Office, Dr. Yakubu Adam Kufamata from Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mrs. Unko Asaya Eswabana from Innovation, Science and Technology to Women Affairs, Mr. Richard Filangwa from Water Resources and Sanitation to Defense, amongst others. The redeployment takes effect from Wednesday, 19th November 2025, while the handing over and taking over processes should be completed on or before Wednesday, 26th November 2025. Another break is due. Please remain tuned. Glad to have you back. Now time to talk business, and Benny Adams is here.
Thank you, Henry. Now the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, commends the prompt and comprehensive actions taken by the Federal Road Safety Corps in response to service delivery concerns regarding delays in the production of driver's licenses nationwide. Following PEBEC's recent push, the FRSC identified the delays within the national driver's license production system, leading to clearance of accumulated backlogs and its increase in daily production capacity to 15,000 licenses. Of particular significance is the FRSC's introduction of the contactless biometric capture system, a forward-looking innovation that aims to deliver permanent driver's licenses within 48 hours, effectively eliminating the need for temporary licenses. PEBEC says this aligns strongly with its mandate to drive regulatory efficiency, enhance transparency, and improve citizen experience in public service delivery. Director General of PEBEC, Princess Zara Mustafa Audu, in a statement, commended FRSC and encourages all applicants whose licenses have been produced to visit FRSC centers nationwide and pick up their permanent driver's license in line with the nationwide sensitization campaign by FRSC for the collection of more than 294,000 unclaimed licenses. Moving on. Nigeria has been called for a coordinated continental framework that will deploy science, technology, and innovation to transform cassava from a subsistence crop into a major industrial and economic driver across Africa. Speaking at the close of a 7-country convergence on cassava, stakeholders say with the right policies, technology adoption, and equitable financing, cassava could become one of Africa's most strategic industrial resources, capable of driving sustainable growth, job creation, and shared prosperity.
A home across Africa will not eat cassava-based product, either be it tapioca, either be it gari, in any forms. And then, in terms of industrial raw materials, there is ethanol from cassava.
We want to see how many entrepreneurs who are able to convert or add value to their raw materials and export this product.
I actually developed a mechanical device to harvest cassava, which I patented in 2013, and it is commercialized and it's being used in several African countries.
South Sudan will learn a lot from the input supply, from the extension and training, from processing and marketing, and also in research and in policy guidance.
Now let's look at the markets in Nigeria at the close of transaction today from Nigeria to South Africa as well as Tunisia. The Nigerian market has been on a roller coaster recently. While it's a dip today, it has actually experienced a significant long-term growth with the oil share index hitting multiple all-time highs in the past year. It has also shown some short-term volatility and occasional pullbacks, as you can see in the numbers being reflected at this time. Only Nigeria is in red. For South Africa, the market today is positive, supported by the previous metals, precious metals, mining sector, along with telecommunications and basic materials. A key catalyst for the positive sentiment was the government's midterm budget update, which included a lower inflation target and an improved fiscal outlook. While for the Tunisian market, it has demonstrated remarkable resilience and stability, with the index recently reaching all-time highs compared to its African peers. Tunisia's stock market has shown the least volatility, indicating more stability. That is it and business at this time. Iyere, take it from here.
Well, thanks, Benny, for the update. Let me also inform you that as a result of issues related to housing deficit, which is estimated at over 28 million units, industry experts are calling for stronger collaboration between the public and private sectors to tackle the mounting challenges hindering the delivery of affordable and decent homes to Nigerians. This forms the core of discussions at a two-day Affordable Housing Finance and Investment Summit held in Abuja.
The Affordable Housing Finance and Investment Summit 2025 with the theme Innovative Financing of Affordable Housing under the Renewed Hope Housing Agenda, focused on collaboration imperatives for housing delivery. The summit brought to the fore the critical importance of housing finance and sustained stakeholders' engagement in closing Nigeria's housing gap.
We are forging public-private partnership frameworks and collaborations with national and multilateral institutions to mobilize private capital and de-risk housing investment.
Experts and development partners stressed the need to expand cooperative housing funds, strengthen the implementation of government housing policies, and adopt more flexible financing models to accelerate affordable housing delivery.
In the past, successive governments had affordable housing schemes that did not significantly impact on the people that in need due to implementation issues. We have a duty as stakeholders here to rethink implementation of Renewed Hope Housing Scheme for exemplary outcomes.
We have to explore innovative financing mechanism for delivering affordable housing to the majority of the people of this country.
Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Abdulhamid Dembos, who was represented, also underscored the urgency of expanding access to affordable homes for Nigerians.
We believe that this collaboration is the backbone of effective housing delivery. We therefore welcome partnerships and developers, mortgage institutions, cooperatives, policy makers to ensure that more Nigerians can own their homes.
At the closing of the two-day summit, participants expressed optimism that the resolutions reached will advance housing technology, strengthen cooperative housing models, and significantly broaden access to decent homes for low-income households across the country. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
And away from housing matters, the spirit of resilience, unity, and one indivisible nation echoed thousands of miles away in Belém, Brazil, as Nigeria marked its special day. At the Nigerian Pavilion, Nigerians and non-Nigerians gathered to celebrate an iconic tradition observed every cup. But beyond the colorful cultural attire, focus was on Nigeria's role in blending cultural identity with the global fight against climate change. Charles Alpha is our guide.
The Tibo attire of the Niger Delta to the Isiago of Southeast and the flowing Babangriga of the North. Nigerians from across regions, along with many international guests, gathered to witness the 2025 Nigerian Day in Belém. It was a moment that captured resilience, cultural pride, and national unity. But beyond the colorful display, the day marked a celebration of progress, from key policy milestones to bankable climate projects that Nigeria is showcasing at COP30.
Everybody came here and we are one strong, firm, united Nigeria in the spirit of true patriotism.
Far from home, the theme of resilience, unity, and a shared national identity resonated strongly among Nigerians and non-Nigerians who gathered.
It's an opportunity for us to sell to the world our cultural values and also, cultural exchange in some ways.
The tool for us to implement the Paris Agreement is the NDC.
Beyond the fanfare, government representatives used the platform to highlight Nigeria's ongoing work at COP30.
To share ideas, to share experiences, and to also see what we can do in our own little corners to mitigate the change in climate. What we have done today, I think we go a long way to addressing some of the problems we have identified across the various regions.
For many here, this day serves as a reminder that Nigeria's climate journey is shaped by its people, their creativity and resilience. In Belém, Brazil, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Many thanks, Charles. The Ministry of Regional Development has unveiled a comprehensive climate action plan for all 6 regions under its mandate, covering 2025 to 2030. The plan, designed to attract investments and tackle the severe climate impacts hitting the Niger Delta and other vulnerable areas, was launched on the margin of COP30 in Belém, Brazil, by the Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo. Again, Charles Alpha has all the details.
Decades of oil pollution in the Niger Delta and severe land degradation in vulnerable communities have left the ecosystem in ruins and disrupted the livelihoods of millions. Unveiled on the sidelines of COP30 in Belém, Brazil, the 2025-2030 plan focuses on attracting climate-smart investments to restore degraded ecosystems, improve livelihoods, and strengthen resilience across communities most affected by environmental damage. For the Niger Delta, the document provides a clear framework to address persistent oil spills, gas flaring, contaminated farmlands, and polluted waterways that have crippled fishing and agriculture.
The document presented is not only for Niger Delta area, it is for the entire 6 regions in the country. So in that document is more or less an action plan. It gives a framework.
Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, warned that without a coordinated action plan, the region's environmental crisis will continue to undermine national climate targets. The plan offers a pathway for remediation, clean energy transition, and job creation across affected states. He said that the ministry is working with development partners and private investors to support large-scale cleanup and restoration projects.
The area I want development partners to come in as far as Niger Delta is concerned. You and I know that in the Niger Delta area, we are faced with oil pollution and gas flaring. So in the area of gas flaring, if something is done in order to make sure that the gas flaring is stopped.
The plan will not only strengthen Nigeria's climate response, but also help rebuild trust and expand opportunities for millions whose lives have been shaped by decades of oil exploration. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
It's time to take another break. Please stay with us. Thank you for remaining with us. Deployment of high-resolution drones to enhance police intelligence gathering to enhance internal security efforts is a priority for the Ministry of Police Affairs. The Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, reaffirmed this in a message at a public presentation of the book, Articles on Policy Dissemination, Navigating the Management Decision on Issues. Francis Form reports.
It is the public presentation of a 208-page book titled Future Articles on Policy Dissemination, Navigating the Management Decision on Issues, unveiled in Abuja. The publication, authored by Bolaji Kazim, Deputy Director, Information and Public Relations Unit of the Ministry of Police Affairs, is a compendium of essays reflecting on communication, leadership and decision-making within public institutions.
I'm prompted to do that to enable citizens to know more about what we are doing, what government is doing for them.
The book highlights the achievements in the Tinubu administration in strengthening Nigeria's policing architecture.
The ministry remains committed to repositioning the Nigerian police force through data-driven strategies, interagency synergy, and international cooperation.
The Police Service Commission, the Nigeria Police Trust Fund, and the Nigeria Police Force applauded the publication, describing it as timely, insightful, and impactful.
Navigating the management decision on issues represents a thoughtful contribution to the ongoing national conversation on reforms.
This book on policy dissemination is crucial to achieving our goals, and it offers valuable insight on navigating complex management decisions.
With the unveiling of the book, the Ministry of Police Affairs aims to deepen a culture of knowledge sharing and evidence-based decision-making across the nation's security institutions. Francis Form, NTA News.
In other news, it's 4 weeks to the 2025 service of 9 lessons and carols by NTA, FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria, to be hosted by Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. The committee was at the headquarters of the Nigerian Television Authority to solicit support of the largest TV network in Africa towards a successful annual Christmas event.
Of this year's service of 9 lessons and carols is Jesus, our strength. And the reason why we chose this theme is that we are aware that Nigerians are going through a lot, but we are asking them to draw their strength from Jesus.
The Executive Director, News, NTA, Ayo Adewoye, conveyed the message of the Director General.
The needful will be done so that you can enhance your preparations for a successful outing. NTA will not, shirk in its responsibility, to this yearly event, and by the grace of God, we're going to have it, successful this year again.
Ministering this year in words is Reverend William Okoye of the All Christians Fellowship Mission. Let's take another break. Please don't go anywhere. It's now time to join Badi Adeleye for sports news. Badi.
Many thanks, Nyare. Let's begin straight away from Morocco, as Paris Saint-Germain and Morocco fullback Achraf Hakimi has been voted the CAF Men's Player of the Year, beating Liverpool and Egypt's Mohamed Salah, as well as Galatasaray and Nigeria's Victor Osimhen took their word. He becomes the first Moroccan to win Africa's most prestigious individual football award since Mustafa Hadji in 1998. At the award ceremony earlier this evening, Morocco's Ghislaine Chebak also won the Women's Player of the Year award, beating international teammates Sana Musodi and Nigerian forward Rashidat Ajibade. It was, however, not a night of total miss for Nigeria, as Chiamaka Nnadozie claimed the Women's Goalkeeper of the Year award for the 3rd year running, while the Super Falcons were named the Women's National Team of the Year. Now to the Nigeria Premier Football League, where champions Remo Stars returned to win-aways on Wednesday after securing a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Kano Pillars at the MQ Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta. Coming off a disappointing home defeat to Enugu Rangers, the Sky Blue Stars were under pressure to respond, and they did just enough as Victor Mboma's 34th-minute header gave them the needed victory. The defeat leaves Saim Sugida bottom of the MPFL standings with just 6 points from 13 matches, while Remo Stars have climbed out of the relegation zone to 15th with 16 points after 12 matches. To some cheery news now. It was a day of medals for Nigeria at the Islamic Solidarity Games on Wednesday, with Nigeria's women's 4x100-meter team claiming gold, while the men won bronze. Patience Okun-George got silver in the women's 400 meters, with Gafar Badmos claiming bronze in the men's 400 meters, just as Samuel Kure won bronze in the men's javelin throw. Nigeria's wrestlers also significantly boosted the country's medal count at the Games, securing both gold and silver medals. Christiana Ogunsoya clinched gold in the women's freestyle 53 kilograms category, while Mercy Genesis achieved a silver medal in the women's freestyle 50 kg division. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to you.
Well, thanks, Buddy, for that. Now, Nigeria's improved diplomatic rating and global recognition in the last 2 decades has been attributed to the passion and strategic representation the country enjoyed when late Professor Joy Ogo served as Nigeria's permanent representative at the United Nations and other international engagements. Joel Popola reports that dignitaries who converged on Lagos to pay tribute to the late former Minister of Foreign Affairs and erstwhile Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs agreed that she created a robust template for the nation's foreign policy.
For these career ambassadors and other dignitaries, the life of Professor Joy Ogo, who died at the age of 79, is a life that positively impacted the nation, putting Nigeria in the front row among the Committee of Nations. The story of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs is incomplete without highlighting the legacy of its first female Director General, Professor Joy Ogo, who, according to the present DG, Professor Ehosa Osagae, and other senior officers of the NIA, set a benchmark that has deepened the intellectual prowess of the Institute and enhanced its rating.
Her era is well remembered for the great strides that she had in research, doing things that enhanced our foreign policy postures.
Former Nigerian ambassador to Spain and former High Commissioner to Canada, Ambassador Femi George, and other diplomats describe a 9-year reign as Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations as a monumental era in the annals of Nigeria's history.
When she came to Minister of Foreign Affairs, she stayed about a year, but even then, you can see, because she brought the professionalism, but also our humility and our humaneness, and also the desire to work.
For many of our family members and kinsmen, her demise has left an indelible mark.
She built people's careers, she built people's hopes, she loved Nigeria.
Born on August 22, 1946, late Professor Joy Ogo obtained a Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Arts in Political Science from Rutgers University in the United States of America and PhD in the University of Lagos. She served Nigeria in different capacities and bagged the national honor of Officer of the Order of the Niger, OFR. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NTA News.
And that's our package on News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it, and from the entire production crew, do have a good night.